Over 2,000 years ago, during their second conflict with Carthage, the Romans came to the shores of Spain, and here, in the modern-day city of Tarragona, they founded one of their greatest cities in Hispania, the city of Tarraco.
Today we explore Tarragona's ancient past, from its Iberian roots and megalithic architecture to its development into a Roman provincial capital, and the role it played in events here in Hispania and the greater Roman world. Tarragona sits on Spain's Costa Dorada, just over 100 kilometers southwest of modern-day Barcelona, and overlooks a natural harbor, fertile lands, and strategic trade routes. But long before the Romans arrived, this region was inhabited by Iberian tribes. Here the Iberian Cesatani tribe established their settlement, Kesse. Part of a broader Iberian world, they likely traded with Greeks and Phoenicians. Their fortified town rose above the coastline, and it's the walls of Tarragona that still stand as one of the most interesting archaeological sites of the city.
One of the most distinctive features of the city of Tarragona is the ancient wall, which still outlines part of the old city today. There used to be about 4.5 kilometers of wall in antiquity, and now about 1.5 kilometers of it remain, and it is the oldest monument that still survives in the city. There were various phases of construction, as you can see the different types of architecture that we have. They say it was the Romans that built the wall roughly in the end of the 3rd century when they arrived during the Second Punic War. But as you can see behind me with this megalithic gate is the Cyclopean construction that outlines the base of the entire wall, essentially. It's even built into other aspects of the city, like apartments, which we'll take a look at on the other side. This is one of 6. And most of them are all gated off. But this is a massive megalithic lintel here that we have, and is reminiscent of megalithic architecture that we see in other places around the Mediterranean, in Italy, in Greece, many other places. And it seems very, very distinct from the Roman construction that we have above us. So to me, based on the megalithic sites I've seen, it definitely doesn't look Roman, as they weren't known to build in Cyclopean fashion. I'm inside the archaeological promenade along the ancient wall, and I found just behind these set of bushes here, one of the 6 gateways, the megalithic gateways, with these just enormous lintel stones. It's quite weird that it's somewhat hidden behind this here. Just incredible Cyclopean architecture with massive megalithic stones here. Behind me is the archaeological park for the wall. And all along this section, as I make my way to the gate where we just were, are just incredibly large megalithic stones. It runs the entire section here. This is the gate into the city today. And you can just see, look how big some of these rocks are. Absolutely incredible. This one as well. At least 3 or 4 meters long. Unbelievable. And here's the gate as well. This is another one of the megalithic gates here in the Cyclopean wall, as you can see, with just another humongous lintel stone on the top, and just quite an incredible sight to see this Cyclopean wall built in, integrated into the modern city with the apartments that you can see here that are just built on top of it. I've seen quite a few megalithic sites around the Mediterranean and other places like Britain, but I've not seen anything like this, with the city effectively built right on top of it. Regardless of who the builders were, the megalithic Cyclopean wall serves as the foundation for where the Romans built up the wall when they took control of this city during the Punic Wars.
From these walls, Tarraco would become Rome's first foothold in Spain and the launching point for the Roman conquest of Iberia.
In 219 BC, one of the great wars of antiquity kicked off just to the south of here at Saguntum, when Hannibal put the city under siege, which broke the Carthaginians' treaty with the Romans.
The next year, Roman general Gnaeus Scipio landed at the allied Greek city of Imperial with his brother Publius, and then marched south, capturing Tarraco and fortifying these walls as Rome's first base in Spain. Whilst Hannibal nearly brought Rome to its knees in his campaigns in Italy, the Scipione brothers led a counter-campaign against the Carthaginians and their holdings in Spain. Tarraco became a crucial base of operations, serving as a launching pad for Rome's campaigns across Iberia, as recorded by historians like Livy and Polybius.
After several years of campaigning, both brothers would die in 211 BC after being betrayed by their allies. Their legacy would survive, however, in the next generation of Scipios and still endures in the city today, as you can see on the building behind me, where it says in Latin, Tarraco Scipionum opus. Tarraco, a work of the Scipios.
They would soon be avenged, however, by Publius's son, who at the age of 25 took command in Spain.
Scipio arrived here in Tarraco in 210 BC and used it as a base of operations to win over Spanish allies and plan for his campaigns in Spain.
This brilliant and charismatic general would go on to turn the tide in Spain, capturing New Carthage, and in a masterpiece with a feigned retreat, defeat the Carthaginians at the Battle of Alyppa, expelling Carthage from Spain. He later led the audacious Roman invasion of Africa to attack Carthage directly, where he would go head-to-head against Hannibal himself, and defeated him at the Battle of Zama, bringing the Second Punic Wars to an end, earning him the name Scipio Africanus and cementing himself as one of the great generals of antiquity.
After the end of the Second Punic War, Tarraco continued to grow as it was a key military, administrative, and center of trade here in Spain.
During Rome's civil wars during the late Republic, Tarraco sided with Caesar during his campaigns in Spain, and he himself crowned it a colony for its loyalty. Decades later, Emperor Augustus chose this city as his temporary capital in Spain to lead the Cantabrian Wars and recover his health. He also reorganized Hispania and commissioned infrastructure projects, new buildings, walls, and roads like the Via Augusta, which was the most important road in Spain, which ran from Cadiz to the Pyrenees. Much of this growth was supported by the various local quarries in the region.
This is the impressive Roman quarry of Medol, about 10 kilometers east of the city of Tarragona. It was the most important quarry in the region for the Romans as they constructed the city of Tarraco. Just behind me is the remarkable metal monolith, which shows the initial height that this quarry would have been, which is about 20 meters above the ground level that it sits today. It is one of the few surviving examples in the territory of the Roman Empire. Augustus's residency here in Tarraco elevated this city and cemented its role as a provincial capital. These are some of the remains of the provincial form that still survive, which would have been the administrative and political hub of the city and the province.
What began as a military base during the Punic Wars had now become one of the most important Roman cities in the Western Mediterranean.
Here at the top of the city was a grand temple dedicated to Augustus after his death under the Emperor Tiberius. Its remains now lie underneath the cathedral in the modern-day city of Tarragona. It was a major center of the Imperial cult here in the Iberian provinces, and Tacitus described it as a place of reverence.
As Tarraco grew, the Romans built just outside the city one of their most iconic monuments.
Great cities need water, and one of the ways in which the Romans were able to supply water to the city of Tarraco was with this engineering masterpiece behind me, the Ponte Diable, the Devil's Bridge. Built around the time of Augustus, this bridge stands as a testament to Roman ingenuity after nearly 2,000 years. At nearly 27 meters high, this aqueduct has 2 tiers with 25 arches at the top and 11 at the bottom. It's roughly 200 meters long from the end, and you can still walk across the top today. It's in that good a state of preservation.
The aqueduct carried water 4 kilometers from the Francoli River into Tarraco, fueling the city's growth. Known as the Devil's Bridge, there are several iterations of the story, but the legend is essentially that the devil helped in the construction of the bridge for the price of the first soul to cross under it, but he was outsmarted when it was a donkey that was the first to cross.
We're going to head back into Tarragona to see another engineering marvel of the city, the layout of the city itself. The city of Tarraco was the first and oldest Roman settlement on the Iberian Peninsula, and the city was adapted to the layout of the geography of the area, with 3 remarkable artificial terraces. I'm making my way from the cathedral down to where the provincial forum would have been, and beyond it the circus, and then the lower level where the basilica, the theater, and the port would have been. And it's so cool to see the layout of the modern city still adapted to that ancient design.
The Roman remains of Tarraco are of exceptional importance in understanding the development of Roman urban planning and design, and served as a model for addressing provincial capitals elsewhere in the Roman world. The Julio-Claudian dynasty ended with the death of Nero in 68 AD, and Galba, governor in Tarraco, seized power after Nero's fall. He would reign for less than a year, however, when he was betrayed and killed at the beginning of the Year of the Four Emperors.
Another one of the Roman gems that survives in the city is the Praetorium, which was built at the end of the 1st century, likely under Domitian, and served as the governor's administrative hub and possibly even residence. Today, this is the site of the Museum de Historia, but in Roman times, it also linked the provincial forum up the hill to the Circus, which we will take a look at just down the ramp. We're just down the hill from the Praetorium behind us, inside the Circus of Tarraco, which is another Flavian marvel, likely built under the reign of Domitian as well. We're at the far end here. You can see where the chariots would have made their turn, and it would have been over 300 meters long down to the other end, and it would have had capacity for roughly 25,000 spectators inside its stands.
Unusually built within the walls of the city, its vaulted substructures adapted to Tarraco's slopes, linking the forum to the track via the Praetorium steps. One of the Western Empire's best preserved circuses, it embodied Rome's love of bread and circuses, as Juvenal wrote.
We're inside the museum of the Circus, and we've just come through one of the really long tunnels into the remains of the stands in some of the seating arena towards the far side of the circus. It's quite a cool view. Sadly, there's no charity events going on anymore, but you can just imagine the incredible amount of people that would have been in here and the amount of energy 2,000 years ago during the circus games. These are the remains of some of the stands from the circus here in Tarragona, and they would have been built over vaults. There's some stairways and corridors as well on the sides, and it's just really remarkable how the city has integrated these remains. You can see a modern seating area on it, and the square we're in now has several bars and restaurants where you can sit here and have a drink in the evenings, as we did a couple days ago. Just next to some of the other ruins of the circus are several bars and restaurants that are literally built into the old Roman construction, and you can see some of those incredibly here inside the Alchemista, which we'll have a look at. Just been exploring the city all morning, so we've stopped for a little lunch break, and I'm here in the Town Hall Square, which is on top of where the Roman circus would have been, or at least portion of it. And the restaurants behind me and even the bank just a few doors down are actually built right into some of the original Roman ruins from that structure. It's really quite remarkable to see those, especially as you're going inside, if you're having lunch, and it just makes you wonder what else is buried under the buildings here in this area and the rest of Tarragona. If chariot races weren't enough entertainment for you, Tarraco has an amphitheater with one of the most idyllic locations I've seen in the Roman world. The amphitheater in Tarragona is built just outside the city walls, down the hill towards the sea, and it was constructed in the 2nd century AD. This amphitheater could hold roughly 12 to 14,000 spectators to see the spectacles here in the arena.
By the 3rd century AD, Tarraco faced invasions and economic hardship. Yet amidst decline, a new chapter began. Christianity took root here, turning this amphitheater, once a place of gladiatorial battles, into sacred ground with the martyrdom of Bishop Fructuosus here.
After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, the Visigoths built this basilica inside the amphitheater to commemorate the event in the 6th century. It was replaced in the medieval era by the Church of Santa Maria de Miracal. Every year, Tarragona celebrates Tarraco Viva, which revives Roman daily life, chariot events, and gladiator games right on the sands of this arena, bringing modern visitors a taste of ancient life.
From Iberian settlement to Roman capital, Tarraco became one of the most important cities in Hispania, shaping the Roman conquest of Spain and the history of the Western Mediterranean.
Today, Tarragona lives right within its history, with medieval walls built on Roman stones with megalithic Cyclopean foundations, ancient temples under churches, and ruins built into the fabric of the very city itself. It's a living museum with history and culture to be found at every turn. Thanks so much for joining me today as we explore the city of Tarragona and the ancient city of Tarraco. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us and the channel. And please let me know where we should check out if you comment below, and if there's any other places we should go and visit here in Spain or across the rest of the Mediterranean and the ancient world. Thanks again, and we'll see you out there on the next Odyssey.